Good morning. This is Gary Leo Criswell from Medieval Knights Midnight Forge Studios. This will be our last showcase in Zygobot Studios while we were in our master's degree. And as we begin this final showcase, we want to take a moment to look back not only as the game as it is, but everything that it took to get here. Medieval Knights began as an idea, a world that we wanted to explore, an experience we wanted to build, and a challenge that none of us could fully understand until we stepped into it. Over the course of this project, that idea became something real. It became systems, environments, mechanics, menus, multiplayer sessions, bug reports, design discussions, art revisions, playtests, countless moments of problem solving. It became long conversations about the game and how it should be, difficult decisions about what it could be, and a great deal of work to close the gap between the two. There were features that came together exactly as we imagined. There were others that had to be redesigned, rebuilt, or even put aside. There were bugs that seemed impossible to track down, ideas that sounded simple until we tried to implement them, and moments when one small change affected 5 other parts of the project. That process taught us one of the most important lessons of game development. Making a game is not a straight path. It is a process of building, testing, failing, learning, and building again. What you're seeing today is the result of that process. It represents more than the final build on a computer. It represents every prototype that helped us understand the game, every discarded idea that made the direction clear, every problem we solved together, and every lesson we will carry into our future work. We learned how to take an ambitious vision and break it into something a team could create. We learned how different disciplines depend on one another, how a design decision can affect programming, how technical limitations can reshape art, and how player feedback can reveal something that development team didn't even notice. Most importantly, we learned how to work as a team. That does not mean that we always had the same answer. It means we continued searching for the answer together. We communicated, compromised, adjusted, and kept moving forward, even when the next step was not immediately clear. That is the work behind Medieval Knights. And before we talk about where the project is going, we want to say thank you to everyone who has helped us reach this point. To our shadows and interns, thank you. Thank you for stepping into a project that was already moving and being willing to learn alongside us. Thank you for bringing new perspectives, asking questions, testing our assumptions, and contributing your time and talent. Whether your work involved programming, art, design, testing, or anything else, helping the team through a difficult part of the development, your contribution mattered. Not every contribution is immediately visible in the final build. Players may never see the bug that no longer happens, the asset that was revised several times, the document that clarified a system, or the conversation that prevented us from heading in the wrong direction. But we saw the work. We know what it added to the project, and we are grateful for it. We also want to thank everyone who played the game, tested a build, reported an issue, or even gave us just honest feedback, or encouraged us to keep going. Every one of those moments helped shape Medieval Knights into what it is today. And lastly, we want to say thank you to Professor Pap, who gave us the opportunity to work on something that we loved throughout our master's degree program here. This showcase represents a milestone for the project, but it does not represent its ending. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. When we leave our masters, our first priority will be returning to the foundation of the game. The first phase will be refactoring and repairing the codebase. During production, we sometimes made decisions based on the deadline directly in front of us, a solution in the moment that might not be the best for long-term structure of the project. We now have the opportunity to revisit those decisions. We will clean up the code, resolve outstanding errors, reduce unnecessary dependencies, and make the project easier to understand and maintain. This is not the most glamorous stage of development, but it may be one of the most important. If we want Medieval Knights to grow, it needs a foundation strong enough to support that growth. Second phase will be moving toward a gameplay ability system design. Gameplay ability system will allow us to give more consistent framework for creating abilities, effects, attributes, interactions, and character behavior. Instead of building every new mechanic as an isolated solution, we want to share a shared structure that future features can build upon. This transition will require planning and careful implementation, but it will also give us more flexibility and allow us to expand the game without every new idea creating additional instability somewhere else. Third phase will focus on rebuilding the multiplayer. Multiplayer is essentially the core experience that we want with the Medieval Knights. It also touches nearly every major system in the game, which means it cannot be treated as an afterthought. We want to reconsider how the game communicates between players, how actions are synchronized, how gameplay systems behave online, and how we create an experience that feels stable, responsive, and reliable. The goal is not simply to make multiplayer function, the goal is to rebuild it in a way that gives us confidence in everything we create on top of it. Fourth phase will be debloating the repository. Throughout development, a repository can collect unused assets, outdated experiments, duplicate files, abandoned systems, and a whole slew of temporary solutions that were never meant to become permanent. Each of those may seem small, but together they make the project a lot heavier, a lot slower, and a lot more difficult to navigate. We'll identify the project needs and remove what is no longer useful, reorganize what remains, and make the repository easier for both current and future developers to understand. A cleaner project will make every stage that follows more efficient. Our fifth phase will be establishing a clear post-school roadmap. Until now, the project has existed within the schedule and limitations of school. Deadlines, classes, showcases, and other responsibilities have shaped how and when we could work. Once we step outside that structure, we will be able to evaluate our availability honestly and create a sharper, more realistic timeline for development. We do not want to announce dates before we know what we can support them. We want to define achievable milestones, understand the work behind each one, and make promises based on preparation rather than excitement alone. The vision remains ambitious, but the path forward will become more deliberate. To the future developers of this studio, we want to leave you with this. The work you inherit will never be perfect. Ours was not, and yours will not be either. That is not a reason to be discouraged. It is an invitation to make it better. Respect the work that came before you, but do not be afraid to question it. Learn why something was built before deciding that it was built incorrectly. Document what you discover. Share what you know. Ask for help early and offer it freely when someone else needs it. Remember that strong teams are not created by people who never make mistakes. They are created by people who can acknowledge mistakes, learn from them, and continue moving forward. Take care of everything. Take care of others. Take care of the projects that you have. And also take care of the people building it. Games are made from code, art, design, sound, and technology, but they are sustained by patience, trust, curiosity, and the belief that the work is worth continuing. We are proud of what we accomplished here. We are proud of the world we began building, the challenges we overcame, and the team that grew around it. We know there is still a great deal of work ahead of us, but we leave this with something more valuable than the illusion of a finished project. We leave with experience, we leave with a stronger direction, and we leave with the determination to continue. This may be the final showcase of our masters, but it is only the end of the first chapter. The castle lights are still burning, the night is not over, and we promise you this will not be the last you see of Medieval Knights. Thank you.
This is Rogue Leader, I'm going